Hello friends, welcome back to another episode of A Bite of Life. Today we'll be making slow braised short rib French dip. It will have caramelized onions, Gruyere cheese, and a delicious and rich au jus. So let's get in the kitchen and get started. For this recipe you will need some beef short ribs, some all-purpose flour, some beef stock, some tomato paste. Use a good red wine. I also have some fresh rosemary and fresh thyme. I have a French baguette in the back, some Gruyere, some bay leaves, celery, carrots, and then 2 yellow onions and 1 red onion. And that's everything. First thing we want to do is prepare the braising ingredients. We're gonna rough chop 2 stalks of celery, 2 carrots, and the 1 red onion. Doesn't have to be perfect, just give it a nice rough chop. And then 5 garlic cloves, I wanna mince down pretty fine, and that's all our braising ingredients. For the short ribs, we want to season aggressively each side with some kosher salt and black pepper. Just flip them over on each side and make sure you get them nice and well seasoned. Once the ribs are well seasoned, we can dredge each piece in a little bit of flour. That's about a half a cup, and just make sure they're well coated. And then you want to tap off any of the excess flour like that. And now in a large pot or a Dutch oven on medium-high heat, you want to add a good amount of extra virgin olive oil and begin browning off and searing your short ribs. Take your time with this step. Give each side 4.5 minutes to develop a beautiful crust on them like that. And make sure you get the edges as well. You want to make sure each side is browned and seared very well. And then you can remove it to a plate. After removing the ribs, you can then add in your carrots, your onion, and celery right into that beautiful short rib juices and begin sauteing the vegetables for about 3 or 4 minutes until they soften just a bit. Add in your garlic and your bay leaves and saute an additional minute. Then, clearing a space in the middle of the veggies, you want to add a heaping tablespoon of tomato paste and just let it make contact with the pan and just break down a little bit and develop a rust color almost, just to develop those sugars and flavors, and then mix it through the veggies. We can then add in 4 cups of red wine of your choice. I'm also going to add some salt and pepper, which you can't really see here, as well as the fresh rosemary and fresh thyme. I'm not going to worry about tying a herb bundle because we're going to be straining this later anyway. And then we will add about a quart of a nice beef stock, and then nestle your short ribs back into the braising liquid. And if there's any juices from the plate, you can put that back in there. With our oven preheated to 325, we want to bring this up to a simmer. And then with a lid, we want to cook for about 1 hour. After 1 hour, we can take it out of the oven, strain any impurities, any grease, any fat around the edges or wherever you can. Just take out whatever scum you might see. And then we're gonna go right back in the oven, 325, for 1 more hour, but this time without the lid. While the ribs continue to braise, we can prepare the rest of the ingredients. I'm cutting up 2 yellow onions into strips. That looks like a lot, but they will cook down quite a bit when we caramelize them. In a pan on medium-high heat, I added extra virgin olive oil and some butter. Add in your onions, as well as a little bit of butter over top. And now I want to cook these on low for about 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes. Just take your time and cook them down. This was after about 12 minutes. And just keep an eye on the onions. If they drink up all the butter and the oil, you could add a little bit more. Mine were okay. And then towards the end, I'm just gonna add a pinch of sugar, and that's gonna add extra sweetness to help cut through the savory au jus and the very rich short ribs. So now that our caramelized onions are done, we can put them to the side. And now we want to grate our Gruyere cheese. This isn't a smoked Gruyere, this is just like a regular white Gruyere cheese. You could also use Swiss or provolone for this. I would recommend not using too strong of a cheese to overpower the short rib and the au jus. And then with the French baguette, I just want to take some of the bread out, not a lot because we want it to soak up the au jus. And then I checked the ribs if they were tender, and they were. Look how beautiful they look. We're gonna just let them rest for a couple minutes. And in the meantime, we can strain our au jus and place the strained liquid back into a pan, and we want to simmer for about 10-12 minutes. We don't want it to reduce so much, and we're not trying to make a gravy. We want it to be a little bit the au jus to be a little bit thinner like that. So, but we just kind of want to get it a little bit more compact. And now we can tear apart our short ribs. I tried a little piece. They were rich. They were bursting with flavor. They were so tender. I actually only ended up using 3, and I saved one of the short ribs because 3 of them made quite a bit of meat, as you can see there. So that's going to be for our sandwiches. We're almost done, so close. We're going to add some of the short rib back into a pan and just simmer it with a little bit of the au jus just for a couple minutes just to get it heated through, and then add it into your French baguette. Then we can add the caramelized onions as well as your Gruyere. And I turned my oven to about 375, and we just want to put the sandwich back in there for about 4 or 5 minutes till it gets nice and gooey and hot and crispy on the outside. And look at that beautiful sandwich right there. And now we can cut it and plate it. You can serve it with a little ramekin of the au jus for dipping. I've got some pub style horseradish, which also is a great accent for this sandwich. And then we're gonna add some fries. And this is our braised short rib French dip. I hope you guys give this a try. Have a great day.